Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about an ARC that I received from NetGalley. It is called Lies She Told, and this is by Kate Houlihan. So Lies She Told is a thriller, and if you've watched my videos before, or if you haven't, either way, I am a really big fan of thriller, and yet there have been some things about the genre lately that have been getting on my nerves. Specific plot devices or, elements that are getting a little bit old, like this past present dual narrative, or anyways, I won't get into it right now, but I requested Lies She Told because it sounded completely refreshing, and I really wasn't disappointed. This is a great book. I read 4 arcs in total in the month of August, and this by far is the one that I liked the most. And I think this is the only one that I'm going to give like its own space, its own video on my YouTube channel. The other ones I think I'm going to clump into one video, but I liked it that much. It releases on September 12th. Yes, September 12th. And it is the story of Liza Jones. She is an author. She writes romantic suspense. Her and her husband are trying to have a baby, but Liza struggles with some fertility issues, and her husband is completely distracted by the disappearance of his best friend and law partner, Nick. So Liza finds herself under a lot of stress. Her editor has given her a strict deadline to get a new book finished. She's on fertility medication that's making her hormones all crazy. And her husband and her are experiencing the loss of a close friend. Things in Liza's life aren't great. This book has a dual narrative, but unlike some of the thrillers recently, it is not about a different point in time. It is about fact and fiction. It is about Liza's story and her character's story. So she crafts this character named Beth. And Beth is a new mother, also married to a lawyer, like Liza is. And she suspects her husband of having an affair. So she sees some things, feels like she has caught him in the act. She goes through, his personal devices, his phone or his email. And because of the stress and everything involved with having a new baby, her situation is as frantic and stressful as Liza's. So the book follows both of them through these complicated events of their lives. As the book progresses, both stories get more and more similar, to the point where Liza's fictional story is sort of mirroring or beginning to mirror her real life. And that's unfortunate because there's a murder in the book. And of course, Nick is discovered to have been murdered. And things get a little bit hazy, and the reader is left to wonder if our author had a hand in the disappearance of her husband's best friend. So I really enjoyed it. And I think most recently I reviewed Final Girls, and I really enjoyed Final Girls as well, but Final Girls was a little bit more expected than this book. I would say that Lies She Told revolves around a very unique concept. It's something that I haven't really been exposed to before, so it was fresh to me. Even if it's been done before, I've never read anything like it. I like books that are a little bit outside the box or a little bit unexpected, and Lies She Told is definitely that. The one thing about the book, I guess, that would prevent me from, 5-starring it and going crazy over it is that it did get a little bit confusing, right? We have 2 parallel stories, and the characters in each main plot are very similar, and some of the circumstances begin to sound very similar. We have a character who wants a baby and a character who has a baby. They're both married to lawyers. They're both dealing with a murder. It can kind of get a little bit jumbled, but but given both characters, and I mean Liza and Beth's, given both of their states of mind, it actually ends up working really well for the book. It actually kind of ends up being part of the appeal, right? Both of these women are not in the most level-headed points in their lives, and even Liza is confused between what is truth and what is fiction. While it's hard to keep everything straight, I have to almost wonder if it's intentional, kind of, because it works really well for the book. Character-wise, I don't think any of these characters are absolutely wonderful people. In fact, I think that's the point. Depending on the person that you are, will decide whether or not this book has a happy ending. We do have two completely separate resolutions for both of our storylines, and I don't know who the readers will root for. Basically, there's just a lot of morally gray characters in this book. There's a lot of lies and deception. I mean, the book is called Lies She Told. So it's not that the characters are unlikable, it's just that the characters are very flawed and the characters do some very questionable things. And depending on who you are as a reader will depend on who you're rooting for in the book, and that will determine whether or not you think this book has a happy ending. I promise you this, there is resolution whether you are happy with it or not, whether there's definitely no joy, but there is resolution and it's very satisfying, and I just was really pleased with this book. I had never heard of Kate Houlihan. She has written 2 books prior to this one. She is an award-winning writer and a TV producer, and she's got a long list of credentials, but from what I can tell, she has 3 works of fiction out there. They're not necessarily critically acclaimed. They're not the best rated books on Goodreads or anything, but I get the impression that Lies She Told may be her best yet. I want to go back and read her previous book, which is called, what is it called? The Widower's Wife. It's about a woman who falls overboard, and anyways, so I do want to give Kate Houlihan another shot. I really loved this book. I'm really glad that I found it on NetGalley and was approved for the advanced reader's copy. It's exciting, and it's not a book that you can necessarily guess, not because the plot twists or the resolutions are so original, but mostly just because, gosh, by the time you get through the middle of the book, it could be anything. Like, I mean, it could be anything. You've got 2 stories and you don't know how they're tied together or how they're different from each other. It is a book that inspires you to keep reading and keep turning those pages, and you definitely want to find out what's going to happen. And maybe, you know, some folks out there could totally call this one early on. I don't know. I couldn't. I just kept seeing all these different possibilities and all these different scenarios and all the different ways it could play out. It really was a good book. It really was a good thriller, and I am probably going to hit it with 4 out of 5 stars. So if you're a fan of the genre, if you're a fan of a good thriller that maybe employs a little bit of different technique to deliver a good story, then I think you should give Lies She Told a try. I will leave links down below where you can learn more about the book or possibly pre-order it from Amazon, maybe. And if you've heard of it, or if you've read it by any chance, or maybe if after September 12th you read it and you want to come back and tell me what you thought, please do leave everything for me down in the comment section below, and I promise to read them and respond as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.